Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today our topic is a part of cellular respiration. It is a stage of cellular respiration, that is citric acid cycle, that is also known as Krebs cycle. What is citric acid cycle and what happens in the citric acid cycle? We are going to see it. As all of you know that the first stage of cellular respiration is glycolysis. Glycolysis releases less than a quarter of the chemical energy stored in glucose. Most of the energy remains stockpiled in the two molecules of pyruvate that are the end product of glycolysis. If molecular oxygen is present, the pyruvate enters in a mitochondria, that is in eukaryotic cells, where the enzymes of the citric acid cycle complete the oxidation of glucose. In prokaryotes, this process occurs in the cytosol because there is no mitochondria in the prokaryotes. Prokaryotes lack double membrane organelles. Upon entering the mitochondrion via active transport, pyruvate is first converted into a compound that is known as acetyl coenzyme A. Acetyl coenzyme A. This step, the junction between the glycolysis and the citric acid cycle, is accomplished by a multi-enzyme complex that catalyzes three reactions. First one is pyruvate's carboxyl group, which is already fully oxidized and thus has little chemical energy. It is removed and given off as a molecule of carbon dioxide. This is the first step in which carbon dioxide is released during respiration. In the second step, the remaining 2 carbon fragment is oxidized, forming a compound named acetate, the ionized form of acetic acid. An enzyme transfers the extracted electrons to NAD+, storing energy in the form of NADH. In the third step, finally, coenzyme A is a sulfur-containing compound derived from vitamin B, is attached to the acetate by an unstable bond that makes the acetyl group very reactive. Because of the chemical nature of the coenzyme A group, the coacetyl enzyme A group, the product of this chemical grooming, acetyl coenzyme A, has a high potential energy. In other words, the reaction of acetyl coenzyme A to yield lower energy products is highly exergonic. This molecule is now ready to feed its acetyl group into the citric acid cycle for further oxidation. That was the step 1. That was the junction of glycolysis and citric acid cycle. The citric acid is also known as tricarboxylic acid cycle or the Krebs cycle, as we discussed before. Its later name honoring Hans Krebs, the German-British scientist who was largely responsible for working out the pathway in the 1930s. The cycle functions as a metabolic furnace that oxidizes organic fuel derived from the pyruvate. So this figure summarizes the Krebs cycle, inputs and outputs, as number 1, pyruvate is broken down to 3 carbon dioxide molecules, including the molecule of carbon dioxide that is released during the conversion of pyruvate to the acetyl coenzyme A. In the first step, you can see acetyl coenzyme A adds its 2 carbon acetyl group to the oxaloacetate, producing citrate. The first product is citrate. In the second, citrate is converted into its isomer isocitrate by removal of one water molecule and addition of another water molecule. In the third step, you can see isocitrate is oxidized, reducing NAD+ to NADH. Then the resulting compound loses a carbon dioxide molecule and it changes into alpha glutarate. Another carbon dioxide is lost and the resulting compound is oxidized, reducing NAD+ to NADH. The remaining molecule is then attached to coenzyme A by an unstable bond. In the next step, you can see coenzyme A is displaced by a phosphate group, which is transferred to GDP, forming GTP, a molecule which functions similar to ATP. In the next step, that is step number 6, 2 hydrogens are transferred to FAD, forming FADH2 and oxidizing succinate. Then after this, addition of a water molecule rearranges bonds in the substrate and the substrate is oxidized, reducing NAD plus to NADH and regenerating oxaloacetate. After it, again oxaloacetate combines with acetyl coenzyme A. Acetyl coenzyme A adds 2 carbon acetyl group to the oxaloacetate and it again produces citrate. So it's in a cycle form and the cycle goes on producing NADH and FADH. Now what happens to these NADH and FADH? NADH and FADH go to electron transfer chain to produce ATP energy in the third stage of the cellular respiration. Here you can see the 3 stages of cellular respiration. The first one is glycolysis, and glycolysis also releases ATP. Citric acid cycle also releases ATP, and at the end the more number of ATPs are produced in the oxidative phosphorylation that occurs in the electron transport chain. Here you can see how that FADH2 and NADH are converted into ATP by the process of oxidative phosphorylation. This is an electron transport chain in which oxidative phosphorylation occurs. Here many multi-protein complexes are present from NADH2 and FADH2. Total of 36 ATPs are produced in the whole process of cellular respiration, that when a 1 molecule of glucose enters this process of cellular respiration, in return of that 1 molecule of glucose, here are the 36 molecules of ATP. This is the process of oxidative phosphorylation. In this there are 2 steps, electron transfer chain and the chemiosmosis. Here you can see in electron transport chain, electron transport and pumping of protons which create an H+ gradient across the membrane, and in chemiosmosis ATP synthesis powered by the flow of H+ back across the membranes. All of these processes are occurring in the mitochondria, inner mitochondrial membrane. Here you can see these are the 3 cellular stages of cellular respiration, and the end stage is explained in this diagram, that is oxidative phosphorylation.